Don't do it. Nobody likes hearing that. Hi, this is Veronika. Today you will learn how to make other people like you and how to be an effective and respected leader. Let's get started. We will learn 8 lessons from the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. First, we're going to summarize 4 lessons that will help you improve your social skills, and then we're going to discuss the other 4 lessons that will help you grow as a leader that people want to follow. How to make people like you. Give honest and sincere appreciation. Wouldn't the world be a better place if we appreciated others genuinely and straightforwardly? The author says that one of the most neglected virtues of our daily existence is appreciation. Whether it's a boss who doesn't appreciate the effort their team puts into the everyday tasks, responsibilities, and goals, or whether it's a spouse who takes the other spouse's contributions to the household affairs for granted. Honest appreciation gets results and motivates people to keep up the good work when criticism fails. That said, the next time you enjoy the service and the food in a restaurant, send word to the waiter and the chef so they can experience what it is like to be appreciated for what they do. Be a good listener. You will learn a lot more about people when they do the talking. This is a powerful, practical, and simple way to gain friends and get people to like you. Our human nature is to present ourselves in the best way possible, which we understand by talking over others. So what we tend to do is talk for 10 minutes about our triumphs, experiences, adventures, problems, and then some successful stories, only to find out that no one really wants to listen to that. And why is that? Most people love talking about themselves, thinking that the more they share, the more recognition they get. But the reality is the opposite. The more questions you ask someone so they can talk about themselves, the more they open up to you and feel that you're interested in them. And this leads to recognition, respect, and friendliness. Try it out. Ask someone what their hobbies are, what they did last weekend, or what they think about a new business strategy. When you give them space to talk, they feel heard. They start to associate you with feeling important to you. So they want to reciprocate this attitude by hearing your thoughts on a matter. Eventually, they will respect your opinion and listen to your arguments. Smile. Make the best first impression. Smiling goes a long way, even when it's unseen. You can test for yourself the next time you talk on the phone with a friend or with a client. Your smile comes through your voice, and when the vibe you pass on is positive, light, and friendly, imagine what a smile can do when you smile at someone during a job interview, when you greet your neighbor or a store clerk, when you introduce yourself to a new coworker that you're supposed to mentor, or when you go to a sales meeting with your prospect. A genuine friendly smile can kick off a series of positive events. You must have a good time meeting people if you want them to have a good time meeting you. Other people's perceptions of you will change once they notice you spreading a nice energy, rather than either having no influence by being invisible, or even worse, influencing them by grumbling and making their day miserable and being a Debbie Downer. Avoid arguments. According to the author, arguments are never a good idea because they hurt people's pride. Once their pride is hurt, they hold a grudge and rarely forget about this experience, sometimes even years later. Usually, an argument ends with each of the contestants more firmly convinced than ever that they are absolutely right. Just think of how many relationships could have been saved if people decided not to escalate the conflict and get into an argument. Whether you strongly believe in your arguments or you just want to prove someone wrong, the more you escalate the conflict of interest and arguments, the more difficult it will be to call it quits and let it go. What you should be doing instead is looking for the common ground of an agreement. When you both win, this will save the relationship and no one will hold resentment. So if it doesn't seem to be a friendly discussion, but it rather becomes a heated argument, control your temper, listen to the other person's viewpoints without interrupting them and debating, and look for areas of agreement by proposing to study their arguments. When you show you genuinely want to understand someone's idea, you disarm the conflict and make them second-guess their opinion as well. And most importantly, you disarm your opponent's defensiveness. Also, note that there is always a slight chance of being wrong, and you wouldn't want someone to say, "I told you so," after all. How to be an effective and respected leader. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders. If you're a leader, a parent, or a spouse, take a moment to think about this. Do you give direct orders to your subordinates or family members, or you make suggestions about what they could do? People don't feel comfortable when they're being bossed around. They feel insecure and underappreciated, which can cause professional or personal burnout. Moreover, ordering people to do something can jeopardize your relationship with them, so they no longer want to be around you. When you are a leader and in every weekly meeting you basically tell other people what they should do, not only do they feel you are building a hierarchical wall between you and them, but more importantly, they will harbor resentment towards you that derives from feeling like their skills, expertise, and experience are undermined, as if the leader doesn't believe in their capability to perform the work they were assigned. How to make it work? To make it work in your favor, don't tell your coworkers what they must do, but rather appreciate that they are going to work on the issue with you and ask questions about what their thoughts and ideas are on solutions to the problem. Explain the situation and tell them how much it would mean to you if they helped you overcome this obstacle. To do that, you could throw around suggestions by saying, "You might consider this. What do you think about this solution?" Or, "What would you consider doing so we make it work?" Asking questions will do wonders because it will still involve you letting others know there is room for improvement, but it will also allow people to feel like they're on the same team as you, rather than being forcefully instructed from the top down. This way, they feel they are part of the solution. Let the other person feel that the idea is theirs. You already know that it's more effective to complete team assignments by asking questions rather than giving direct orders. To take it to the next level and truly make others feel invited and inspired to get on board with you, make sure to let them feel that it's their idea. When someone thinks it's their idea that will lead to the success of the team, they will move mountains to accomplish the ultimate goal. If you want to be an effective leader that encourages cooperation instead of rebellion, inspire people to find a solution to the problem or encourage them to actively seek one. Everyone has more faith in ideas and solutions they discover themselves rather than the ones handed to them on a silver platter. When you don't provide a specific solution and rather suggest the direction that the team should be taking, the team members will become motivated to be the ones coming up with ideas and being considered creative and brilliant for noticing something you didn't. If we come up with an idea, we feel more confident and we think highly of ourselves. We feel that we are valuable, trustworthy, and that we contribute to the team's well-being and success. And this outcome could be even more valuable to the team than the solution itself. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Don't do it. Nobody likes hearing that. No one appreciates being told he's wrong, just like no one likes being constantly reprimanded for their actions or corrected when said or done wrong. It is human nature to blame others and point out the tiny details of one's behavior that we don't approve of. And what's worse, sometimes we may make it a habit to complain about someone's actions just to feel better about the ones we have or haven't done. Sort of to make ourselves feel better, which would only prove we weren't acting fair and treating others like we want to be treated. When we feel we're failing in something, we may want to remind others, like our subordinates or teammates, that they're failing too, or so we say. It's a dead end, and it can cause unnecessary tensions and both personal and professional relationship breakdowns. So whether a parent criticizes a child for throwing toys on the ground for no apparent reason, or whether you criticize your subordinate for not acting the way you expected, a great man shows his greatness by how he treats little men. It takes character and self-control to resist the urge to condemn someone and show empathy and understanding instead. And last but not least, if you feel there is no other way to move forward with the process and you need to share your critique with someone, make sure to do it the right way and avoid discouraging a person. To do that successfully, first mention your own mistakes before criticizing the other person. This way, you gain their trust and they will not become defensive once you voice your critique towards them. Let the other person save face. Have you ever been criticized in front of your teammates? Or you are the one pointing out someone's mistakes in front of their coworkers? It's never a pleasant situation because it hurts someone's dignity. And to diminish someone in his own eyes is a brutal thing to do, especially when someone else is watching. Dale Carnegie brings up this very common and inevitable example of having to let someone go when you are a leader. The key is to not let a person down and humiliate them in front of others. Unfortunately, even if it was already decided that a person should be fired, there are numerous ways to let a person save their face in front of the company and its employees. So whatever the working relationship might have been, it is not destroyed in a few moments. And it's a small world, so it's not the best idea to burn bridges, since you may run into this person someday and who knows, maybe by then they're the boss, or a person who may have an impact on your future. The key lesson here is that the most powerful thing you can do is publicly show your gratitude, appreciation, and faith in a person, so they feel they have been treated with the respect that everyone deserves. To be respected is to show respect. I feel like it is a total understatement to say that this book is worth a recommendation. This book will be a roadmap to you that will help you expand your social skills and be more likable and approachable to others. If you feel like there's something that stands in your way of making friends or cultivating professional relationships, by reading this book you will definitely gain more confidence in interpersonal communications, and you will learn specific patterns that will eventually become your new habits of approaching people. That's it for today. I hope you learned a lot with us. Let us know what kind of videos you'd like to see next, and if you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate and subscribe to our channel. Ray Dalio's recent study recognizes the significance of human evolution, the archetypical big cycle which influences the world order, and the power of world-dominating empires. He claims that the world's most powerful empires followed the big cycle pattern for over 500 years, and every time they did, it was the beginning of changing the world order.